2, 1. Here we are again, back with another episode of Double Barrel Shotgun with my boy Yves. Yves, anything you got to say to the people? Wow, we're going silent too.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Let's do this.
A Yuletide bang bang. Let's go. Recapping last week's game is another really interesting week. I think actually some things fell into form, but we'll start with Dallas, Indianapolis. I don't know. I don't know. I think we both said you had a little more thinking this would be more competitive.
Right, I did. So.
I felt in this case, I said I've used the term all year, paper tiger or paper lion or whatever you want to call the phrase. When it came to Indianapolis. Boy, they served up one sweet one for me on Sunday. It was done by about the first quarter.
It was.
First thing, why are we trying a fake punt at that position? What's up with that?
Everybody must have gotten the St. Louis Rams field also to start faking. I don't really understand it.
The game's nowhere. It's a 7-0 game, and you decide to do that? Really?
I know. That shows a desperation to me. If you're getting to that point, that means you don't. That means you're thinking that you gotta come and manufacture points, and I thought that was a momentum killer right there. To be honest with you,
the game was over at that point. Once they scored the touchdown to make it 14-0, was all she wrote.
Yeah.
They just pretty much say here, just give the game away. I would start wondering in this case if anyone has money on that game, because I couldn't believe how that game was being, from a tactical standpoint, how that game was being handled and managed. Interesting to see that ESPN now, getting on the Tull bandwagon in this case about the Andrew Luck criticism. I was like, oh, really? We've noticed.
Well, for that, again, like we said last week, all the picks that he's been throwing in terms of the picks, and a lot of pick sixes, that's the killer. And he's been really sloppy with the ball. But I gotta say though, the wide receiver, the tight ends, and the wide receivers, they dropped balls all in that game, wide open. It's crazy.
It was crazy. I mean, it was a pretty scene. Dallas moves on. On the Dallas side of things, they look strong. They close out with the playoff. They get in the playoffs in about how many years? 8 years?
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, it's funny enough. I think last time they were in was the botch kick against the Seahawks.
Right.
If we talk about the tale of two franchises going different directions off of one game, but yeah, I think Dallas, has a good, strong running game. Dez is just he's in beast mode here.
He's balling right now.
Yeah, he's just getting better and better as the season's going. He means arguably between he and potentially Antonio Brown are going to be the scariest offensive weapons, I think, going into the playoffs.
Remember what he's playing for though. He's playing for a contract.
True, but you still got.
I'm not saying that he's not balling. Never said he never gave effort. But I'm saying he's taking it to another level that is just crazy. Yeah. But I think that Dallas' system has been really good. The way that they run first, pass second, and then when you pass, you throw it to your beast, and that's what you do. You feed him.
Right. Exactly. I think there's not much more to say about that game. I mean, it was horrible. Was it 42-7? I think it was the final. It was
exactly. It was pretty bad.
That's more than enough time we spent on that game. Game number 2, we'll discuss Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, I got to say something about this. I was texting you during this game. Okay, I'm just going to say it here for the people. I told you all last week. Alex Smith sucks, okay?
You know what?
I'm more French. You horrible in this game.
Okay, well, here's the funny thing. As I came home, I was listening to Dan Le Batard today. Well, and I know you're going to love this stat. All right. Out of 272 pass attempts, all right? Guess how many balls have gone over 20 yards?
I say 3.
Oh, you're very good. I don't know unless you heard the broadcast.
No, I did not hear the broadcast.
The answer was 6.
6.
All right.
Yes.
Now, out of the 230 some odd passes, how many of them have gone over 15 yards?
I'll go back to 3.
No, he's Captain Checkdown. They said under 15.
Under 15?
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, I don't know the number. How many plays?
Out of 232.
I would say, in this case, 232. 226.
Wow, you're pretty good on this game. It's 215.
215.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Le Batard was just murdering this guy. He says, Stu Gatz, you can't win with this guy.
Win that guy. I don't care if Kaepernick on his worst day I'll make that deal again.
Oh, you want to know how? Here's Levitard. He said, "Listen," he goes, "the worst situation he can get himself 20 yards by somebody sacking him and the ball going by accident going 20 yards."
Well, they banned that rule now, so you can't do that no more.
Yeah, it was. I was like, wow,
it's horrible. I sat there and watched it. I said, "This, I've seen it a few times against the Buffalo game and stuff like that." But I guess maybe because I'm watching the Steelers, it was so apparent watching bubble screen left, bubble screen right. Like, really, that's your offense.
And throw a quick screen to your tight end.
And I'll say this much, Alex Smith, because even San Francisco, I don't recall it being this bad. So this goes down to the great genius that's called Andy Reid. Because no one could out-coach a game better than Andy Reid. You want anyone. That's the reason why I was so sure the Steelers were going to win the game. Between Alex Smith and Andy Reid, it was pretty much a lockdown that I was going to win the game.
Yeah.
It's pretty much done. I'm like sitting there. I said the magic number is 21, folks. Steelers almost got the 21. I was like, oh, we got the 20. We ain't there just yet, but pretty much just coming to it. That game should have been about 30 something.
I felt sorry for Jamal Charles because he was taking some horrendous licks.
Well, I told you in the text he was doing that guy. He put that guy out there for like a silver platter, man. I didn't realize how many hellacious licks that dude takes in the game.
Because he was basically there saying, well, we know Smith is just going to do check down, so we're just going to kill your one dude that you got. And like to the point that
concussion the playoff game, it's brutal.
Yeah, man, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Oh man. Anyway, Steelers are. I said before, I think the Steelers could put up 30 points, but I think the only thing that held them back to Tomlin's point at halftime was that the time of possession in Kansas City had all that check down crap in this game just clogged up the game. Where that game would have gotten uglier in this case. It's like watching a team in the NBA that's got pretty much a slow pace off and just killing the clock to try to play a 75-point game. And hold back the team.
Like 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
Exactly. That's Kansas City. Oh, anyways, brutal football, man. I'm glad they're pretty much almost they're out of their misery because I can sit there and watch them for the rest of the season. Gosh. There's certain teams I don't want to see in the playoffs. They're one of them. Yeah. Anyhow, man. So that's what we have to say for this week's games. We haven't gotten to game 3, which is Cincinnati and Denver, because that's playing as we speak right now. This game is being recorded Monday night. But, our picks in this case here, I think we both have Denver in that one. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The big 3, these are big 3 games. It lives up to the title in this segment for this week. 3 games and pretty much division titles on the line.
Straight.
On each of them. One of them is pretty much a play or go home, win or go home scenario. So we're going to start off with 2 in the NFC, 1 in the AFC. First, Detroit, Green Bay in Lambeau, the frozen tundra. As much I would love to see Detroit win this, just for my own thing. I think personally Green Bay is grossly overrated. I just gotta go with my instincts with a dome team. I'm sorry, I don't care how good that defense is. Detroit's been winning ugly. They're grinding out wins, but that defense, I think they're based on obviously built on a lot of speed. They're going to be on a bad footing surface. I don't know what the weather's like for this Sunday, but you just can't think it's going to be good footing for all those front 4 and those linebackers. I like Green Bay to win. I think they'll win comfortably, but not any blowout, but something where they're going to be in control of the game. And I think Green Bay wins the division.
I think Detroit is going to lose this game. Reason being, Matthew Stafford has been playing like trash for the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
And he does a lot of check down. If he doesn't throw the ball to Calvin.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, it's something to see that you thought when Johnson got back, he would just take off. You say, okay, you have Megatron, but my goodness, guy.
Yeah, they seem to have forgotten who Golden Tate is. I mean, that's my opinion. I think he helps them out, but they seem to have forgotten him. Detroit just historically, winning Green Bay.
No, they just don't, and I don't see it happening now, man. Not how Stafford's playing. You're
right. I like Detroit's. I do like Detroit's defense because they have a pass rush. They got some hitters. I don't think they're going to lose this game so much because of the defense. I think they're going to lose this game because of the offense.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Score. But it's not to say that Green Bay's defense is overwhelming.
True, but
it's not dominant.
Detroit's made a lot of mediocre defense look pretty good this year.
Right. So my thing is that I just think that Detroit's offense, if they can do the run, if they can run, there's a chance. But I really do think that Green Bay is going to pull this out.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll move into game number 2. Game number 2, sticking in the NFC. NFC South, win or go home. We have the Panthers traveling to ATL with the Falcons. I know this is the I can't stomach to watch this game. But but we still have some interesting players in this. So
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So see, here's the thing. I'm going on tendencies. In this case here, I don't trust Atlanta in big
You should not
games.
trust Atlanta.
Exactly. Never have.
Should not trust Atlanta.
So I'm going to go with Cam. I think if you look at, if I'm taking basketball philosophy in this case here, who's got the best player? The best player in my mind in this case plays for Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking he's the guy who can make the big play in the game. Matt Ryan might, Matty Ice, wherever. I found in big games is always find a way to kind of, shrink up in the big moments. Yeah. So and now trust their coach. Now, true, none of these are going to be winning the Lombardi Award in this case for coaching, but I think I'll take Riverboat Ron over Mike Smith any day of the week. So give me Carolina, man.
And to think about it, Cam just had a horrific car accident. When he technically, you would have thought that his season was over. But all of a sudden, his play, and again, making plays from the pocket.
Yep.
Making plays from the pocket.
Yeah,
he's now manipulating the pocket very much so to the point that the threat of the run makes guys nervous. And
I would say earlier, even you mentioned earlier this year, he's been pretty good in the pocket for most of the season. He's developed quite fast.
This season, even a little bit to last season, he was starting to make a lot more plays from the pocket.
I don't think he was a pure running guy, even like Wilson. I think he's a guy who run out of desperation. But he was good.
The thing with Cam was he was a one progression guy and gone.
Yeah,
right? But now he's evolved. He's evolved to the point. And it's not to say that the offensive line has made him any better.
Well, not he's got anyone to throw to.
Exactly. But the thing is, he has Benjamin there, and Olsen has been a good tight end for him.
A young receiver, Olsen's strong, but everyone knows you can just double on Olsen and say, please, other guys beat me.
Right, but Benjamin's, this is the NFC South. It's like, but they're 5-0 within the. They're 5-0 within the. Oh no, Atlanta's 5-0 within the division.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Averages say they're not going to sweep the division.
Yeah, but I think one of those two teams are 5-0. I think it's Atlanta.
It's Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of weird to me to be like obviously you want to be dominant in your own division because that's obviously what you play for. Right. But to think that you're horrific everywhere else on the rest of the league. Good grief. Yeah. So, but I'm choosing Carolina because first of all, they got a running game. That's a very, they got a running game. I think, Matty Ice, whatever, overrated to me. But Julio Jones is a nice player. But they, I'm just gonna go with Carolina.
Yeah, I got to instate that too. Okay, game number 3 in the AFC. My Pittsburgh Steelers looking to kind of wrap things up against Cincinnati. Depending what happens tonight, we'll see Cincinnati be playing for desperation. I believe this game is in Pittsburgh. I think the first game they won in Cincinnati. So I think Pittsburgh's got to find their groove right now. And once again, it's very similar to a similar theme here. Teams in this case have been in big spots that I don't trust in big spots. Don't trust Cincinnati. There's something I heard, I think it was at the Levitar show yesterday, talk about how it's kind of an ironic twist. In this case, the league has put 2 of the last games for Cincinnati in prime time, where we know they're not good in prime time. Yeah. So when the lights get brightest, Cincinnati kind of shrivels up once again, and especially Andy Dalton. So once again, I'm going off a tendency. It's never failed me yet. I'm going to stick with the Steelers, man, to close this out and get the bye.
I mean, I do. I'm gonna choose Pittsburgh. I think they've been on a roll. Yeah. I think that the offense has come around, but the defensive, surprisingly, and again, some of the old guys that are not playing, it looks like the young guys have seemed to take over a little bit.
Yeah, young guys. That's the point of making you mid-season. That the young, it's not so much the coaching; it's that the young players weren't able to step up yet to take on that responsibility. It was a transition literally happening in front of our eyes.
Right. So and I think that also Harrison I've been seeing. He's been, how old is he now? Like what, 50?
30, 34, 33.
But he's been playing like.
Well, he's giving us a pass rush.
He's giving you the pass rush that you need because
it's helped everybody.
And it's been consistent.
Yeah.
It's been consistent, and he's flying into the ball. I mean, I just think that Cincinnati.
He's laying something over like Worlds and some of these guys' backsides because they're playing on their mind.
I don't. Well, because someone lit a fire in them.
Yeah, Worlds is playing ridiculous. Timmons has gotten back some he had lost a step earlier in the year, and he's gotten back.
I think he lost weight. I think that was the key with Timmons. He had to lose some weight because especially playing the 3-4 the way that he plays it, and as the middle guy, the inside guy, you got to have speed, and if you don't have the hips and the movement, the flexibility, you're really compromising a lot of the defense because the guys need you there.
Exactly. So we'll wrap it up with this. We took the same pick, so we'll see. We had Green Bay, Carolina, and Pittsburgh, man.
That's right.
So we'll see. It's gonna be fun this last week.
Oh yeah.
So we're wrapping up the end of the season. We're gonna get into the MVP discussion. There's been a lot of talk of who's the front runners, who should be in consideration. Yves, I'll let you start it off here. Who do you like as your MVP now? We're wrapping up with just a week left.
Okay, if it was up to me,
yeah.
MVP would be J.J. Watt. Okay.
What's your argument why he should be MVP?
Huh?
What's your argument why he should be MVP?
Okay. I know the argument against him not being the MVP is because they're not in the playoff consideration. That's the reason why.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
That's the big knock on it. That's probably the big knock. But think about it. Remember when Lawrence Taylor won the MVP? And they made the playoffs.
Is Watt having a better season he did last year?
Oh my gosh, is he having a better season than that?
Well, the touchdowns make it.
Can you imagine? Okay, his season last year was phenomenal.
Right.
This season is just, oh my gosh.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you're gonna look at it from that standard point, because remember, he is a non-offensive player, and think about it, he scored how many touchdowns this year?
I know he scored some offensive players. No, I'm not saying. That,
but it's the right because it's not going to be. It's not cool to. It's not. Nobody's going to stick their neck out to come up and say this guy's
going to be 7-9 or whatever the case would be. So I mean, fair enough. That's your pick.
That's my pick, but I'm not crazy. I'm not like if it was up to me, I'd choose him. Okay. But I think that Rodgers probably does.
Rodgers going to win. Okay, that's who you think's going to win. Okay, I'll go who I think should win it and who I think will win it. So, I think, you can call me Homer or not, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say Big Ben, in this case, should win the award. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. Because in this case here,
it's true.
I'm looking at the numbers he's putting up. Is like career numbers across the board on everything, pretty much. The yardage.
Right.
I think touchdowns, he's up to about 35. I mean, he had like 2 record-breaking games, I think, this year or something. The team's right now on fire right now. And me... and true, he's got a couple of young receivers. It's not like he's playing. True, he's like Antonio Brown, who's an all-pro receiver. But but he's dealing with 2 young receivers in Bryant and the other boy there. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head.
So it's Bryant and I forgot his name.
Weedon.
Yeah.
Right. So you deal with that. Le'Veon Bell's still a young running back, but he's fantastic. But he's not dealing with like a seasoned veteran team. And the offensive line is starting to get together, but it wasn't great at the beginning of the season. So to me, he held the fort when things weren't looking great and putting up huge numbers, and pretty much taking all comers and beating all the big time teams, for the most part. So I know it's not going to be the pick likely, and I know Ben's not going to be a favorable person in this case from the media standpoint. But to me, I like Ben for the thing. Now, who I think is going to win? The campaign needs to be out there for Rodgers, and I don't know.
And for Romo too. But I think
Dallas is too interconnected because you can make an argument for Des Bryant, you can make an argument for the running back Murray.
Right.
So I think Dallas, those guys all cancel each other out. For Dallas. The other possibility then is, you're always gonna try and true Brady, but when Gronk was hurt, he didn't look that great. So why am I gonna give you the Brady when his tight end gets hurt and he can't do a dang thing? So that eliminates him. Manning's tailed off obviously. So just maybe out of just like. I don't know. There's no one else really. They might give it to Rodgers. So I'm with you. They'll probably give it to Rodgers. There just definitely seems to be a strong campaign. Sure. I don't know. As I said before, I like Ben. I see Watt as I can see from just a pure performance as being in play. I'm trying to think. Is there any other positions I could think of? As for all the Dallas guys.
Watts is a wrecker, man.
No doubt. He's the most feared defensive player I've seen since
listen. I love defensive. I love defensive tackle. I love defensive players, and to think what this guy does and he puts his fingers on the ground.
Right.
He plays anywhere on that line.
Right.
Oh,
even though I gotta say this, I don't know. Tell me. The other person people talk about is Russell Wilson. Wasn't playing with much, but I don't know Wilson's numbers, and Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I love Russell. And I love the Seahawks, but I don't know if Wilson's numbers really jump out at me as MVP numbers. You know, you get a
True. You
little
know
bit of
what though?
stickers.
He is doing something that's pretty historic. He's on a historic place right now.
Yeah, the
I
rushing.
think that he's in terms of what he does combination
Yeah,
wise.
it's
He's going to be like
ridiculous. Yeah.
second, I think, all time to after Randall Cunningham in one season,
True.
right?
And
So
that's,
he's doing some crazy stuff.
that,
But you know, again, as you know, I don't. It's not a shot against your team. But somebody wrote a real good article saying that, look, basically when you're looking at the Seahawks, they're basically running a wishbone offense. And that's what basically it is.
Well,
It's a wishbone offense with a part running back because the real big dude, by the way, love the Marvin Gaye shirt. You know, but the real thing is Lynch is basically the linchpin. So without Lynch, he ain't nothing.
No, fair enough. I agree. That's the point I've always made in this case. But all the other teams that had players that are similar to Russell Wilson as far as quarterback ran away from it. The one team that never ran away from it is the team that won the Super Bowl.
Right.
They're the one team that said, well, we're going to still run this. You guys figure out how to stop it. I don't care. And ironically, Wilson's the smallest of all the dudes in this case as far as height-wise. You know, so anyhow, those are our thoughts on MVP, man. It's a strange race this year because usually you have a couple guys that stand out more than everybody else on the good teams. But really, if you look at a lot of the good teams, it's a lot of up and down performance, man, going on across the board, man. Where you can
but I hear you, but I don't think it's a competition. I think Rodgers wins it hands down.
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't look great against Tampa Bay. He was, he looked okay. You know, then of course the debacle in Buffalo. Like he's kind of, let's put it this way: if it's a race, he's kind of staggering to the finish line. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he is.
You know, so he's one of those people that if you were doing it's like almost when you do the NBA All-Star voting for MVP, and they do it somewhere midway through the fourth before actually someone makes an impact at the end of the game. It's one of those scenarios. If it's like game 12 or 13, yeah, you have Rodgers for sure. But the last 2 or 3 weeks, you know, as I said before, I think some guys are closing the gap, but we'll see. Anyway, it's a fun discussion.
Okay.
So no fantasy insider this week. You know, we're done with our fantasy discussion for the year. But we decided since it's the Yuletide season, it's Christmas time, we're gonna have our own little naughty or nice list and see how who's giving out who's giving out coal and who's giving out treats in this case. So we're gonna do our naughty list first. You're gonna have one naughty group or person. It could be a person, it could be a player, it could be executive, it could be an institution, it could be a team, you name it. So I'll start with you, Eve. Who is on your naughty list, man?
Oh, my naughty list is the conduct of the NFL league office and the players.
Yeah.
Bad.
Maybe that's not appropriate with Adrian Peterson. So maybe
yeah, man. I mean, oh, wow. That's true. You probably would have gotten away with this without no problem giving a hand slap. Wow. Why? Well, anyway, just some like the conduct of the players. Let's put it this way: we don't condone what they did. We don't condone knocking out women. We don't condone beating up on, slapping up your kids with a tree branch. We don't condone that. Okay, so let's get that straight. However, the conduct of the league office, the commissioner's office, wow, wow. I'm flabbergasted that this guy still has a job, to be very honest with you. Some of the decisions, some of the lying that has gone on of saying what they did or didn't know, some of the double jeopardy. You punish a guy, then you're gonna extend a punishment that's not collectively bargained, and then you try to say, and you're trying to come and lie on the people, saying that that's not what you said or not what you meant, and then you do these fraudulent appeasement kind of things just to keep sponsors by having more women into these this new domestic policy stuff.
About that.
Right, but the women that you select again are
like owners'
people
wives
that are associated with the league.
Oh, jeez. Hey, don't forget also the one that the biggest thing that's still sitting out there, the biggest question mark. The videotape that might have been given to the league odds that no one knows have actually been picked up yet. So
well, you know what? I think that's a done issue. I think we know what's the deal because like even everything that Goodell said he was going to do in terms of like probably cut down or curtail some of the powers that be, he hasn't done. The thing is, he's very disliked now. The reason why he's disliked is because of the heavy-handedness and the fakeness that he does. Players don't like this dude.
Players never like this dude, though.
Yeah, they never liked him from day one.
All this is just proving what the players thought all along.
Right, and that's the thing. And I think that people are seeing, yo, this guy is like, who is this dude?
Interesting thing, just on a side note, we'll wrap this up on this part, but just on a little note, I'm not sure you heard the BS report a few weeks ago when they had on, I think it's Don Van Natta, who's been doing a lot of research on this whole thing. He's a reporter for ESPN that has been working on this whole Goodell thing and the tape and stuff like that. He made an interesting point. Actually, I think it might have been Simmons that made a point. It seems like as if this guy does favors for his buddies in the league.
Yeah, that's always been the case.
Because in this case here, but Benson, obviously it doesn't seem like he and Benson are nobodies. The Saints got licks and they got hard. But in this case, when it came to Baltimore, his buddy.
Oh, jeez, yeah, because he's a golfing buddy with the owner.
When it came to Spygate, in this case, Kraft to him or in like
Kraft,
buddies,
yeah, because Kraft is his boss.
Right. That's his boy. So it's like it seems like he covers his boy's tail, but when it comes anyway, it's not on his wish list or whatever. He's gonna make sure they feel it. Anyhow,
just a quick update. Cincinnati, right now, Denver just basically scored on a pick by Mr. Dalton, the redhead, and AJ Green is hurt really bad right now. 7-0. But yeah, man. Listen, Goodell. Now you know why it wasn't a unanimous vote when he got selected when he was selected as commissioner, because that was always like nobody really talked about it, but he's pissed off a lot of people in the league, like a lot of owners, such as the owner in the Jets owner doesn't like him, Benson don't like him. I heard there's a few more other guys that don't care for him. So if this report comes out the way it's supposed to come out, he might be out.
Yeah, for real. I think so. I'll go with my naughty. My naughty kind of dovetails into what you were discussing. San Francisco 49ers. This thing's a mess all across the board. I mean, the epicenter, of course, is Harbaugh and what his status is and how he's handled the team. You got management that doesn't seem to like him, or I know the GM doesn't like him. The owner seems to be kind of wishy-washy. He's throwing out little subliminals and some items on Twitter after they get beat by Seattle on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, never mind the stuff that just happened just this day, in this case, when it comes to McDonald in this week with McDonald. Let him go. It's like, now you're letting him go? What, the first one with the abuse wasn't enough in this case? Or at least to get off the field if you want to have his day in court. You got to wait now when you had the sexual allegation in this case, sexual assault allegation on.
And the reasoning was because there's too much history of bad behavior, or he's always involved in something. Oh, okay. I didn't know that the NFL had a whole bunch of choir boys. We have people who murdered. We have people who've killed people in here.
It's just brutal across the board.
It's crazy stuff, man.
I mean, Kaepernick in this case, in his struggles, it's like you gotta really wonder what's going on with this organization and how fast it's happened in a matter of 8 to 10 months. It's unbelievable how fast it's happened. So definitely, San Francisco goes on my naughty list right now. They seem to have been kind of the underlying story throughout the whole year from an on-field perspective. Obviously, you got the off-field perspective, what's going on there with a lot of stuff with the commissionership and everything around that. So let's go with the nice stuff, man. Let's end off some good news, man. So who's on your nice list?
I want to say this. Surprisingly, I'm going to say your Seattle Seahawks, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know it's a surprise, but I'm going to tell you why. First of all, it's good, especially with all the nonsense that occurred at the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying that Percy Harvin was all the cause of it, but it's very interesting dynamic. But it seems like when there was talk about them trying to run Marshawn out of town, when they realized all that stuff happening, and to think the dude still stuck to his convictions, still didn't talk to the media, and his boys had his back, which I think was really good, because they were basically saying, leave the dude alone. The guy's paid to play football. He's not paid to talk to y'all. Right? And when he does talk, one-word answers. Thank you. How you doing? Thank you, boss. I'm here. Whatever. But the defense has been just wow. Oh, man, alive. They've just been playing some great ball, especially after Chancellor came back. And, they're playing what they're playing. They really doing their thing. And I got to be honest with you. Again, it's a wishbone offense that they're playing. It's like I'm seeing the old Nebraska back in the day with Tommy Frazier.
Yeah, or Oklahoma Sooners back.
Oklahoma Sooners or something. If I the way that they run the thing, the way they run that rock, oh my goodness gracious, man. So and it's kind of cool to see it. I was enjoying. I watched the Arizona game last night, and whoo, you know what I mean? Because the game was over after it got two touchdowns. I think I texted you. I said, "Okay, the game's over, man," because there ain't no way.
Right. Yeah, Ryan Lindley was not making.
Yeah, he wasn't coming back, bro.
All right. Well, I appreciate that with the nice thoughts about the Seahawks. I am gonna go with a team that, in this case, is my sworn enemy from life. In this case here, I cannot believe I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna throw a little goodwill and a little, to the Dallas Cowboy Nation. Quote America's team. I gotta give Jack his jacket, as my dad would say, as an old phrase. You know what? When we did our previews at the beginning of the year, we were cackling. And we were making bear joke and sport about what Dallas is going to do. We thought this would be one of the all-time worst defenses ever. If you don't forget, Scamper had just been suspended. And we were living it up, boy. We were making it rain in this case, proverbially. Dallas is Dallas, boy. Everybody was like, let's face it, there's only two types of people when it comes to Dallas. There's Dallas fans, and everybody else that can't stand Dallas. So everyone was having a good old joke on Dallas. Exactly. There's no love lost. Everyone knows that you're a fan of our team. You don't like Dallas. There's no in between with Dallas. So everyone's having a good old time at Dallas' expense. But I gotta give the boys credit, man. How about them Cowboys?
You know what? As crazy as it is, and I have to begrudgingly admit it, it is better when the Cowboys are actually pretty good, because everybody talks about them. But even though they're overly hyped at times, but this year they have gone back to a formula that's proven to be timeless, that works in the league. If you run the ball and you got a big house of linemen and you run the ball, it can come and get you at least 7 wins, guaranteed. And, I'm still, DeMarco Murray, will he be back with them next year? Dez, they'd be crazy to let him go.
Yeah.
So, and the fact about it, Romo, still a little worried about that whole back situation. Yeah. But the defense has been keeping its end, but the offense, they've played really good. Yeah. So, do I think it's great coaching? Don't know. We'll see. Playoffs, it's a whole other situation.
I mean, Garrett took over the offensive duties quite a bit late last year, I think I recall. I don't know if he's given back what the responsibilities are between he and the offensive coordinator.
They have so many coaches this year. We don't know
everybody in this case here. The Pat lunches, they got coaches for it. But nonetheless, got to give Dallas their due. Because, I mean, where we thought they would be at the beginning of the season to where they are now, you watch the game where they are.
Hill just did a phenomenal touchdown for Cincinnati. Wow!
I'm gonna get you out though. You watch
85 yards.
So that's my dice. Where can the good folks find you, Eve?
They can find me at Y Charlem.
All right, and they can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short for RM. Folks, be safe this Christmas season. We'll catch you next week before the new year. And have a blessed and enjoyable Christmas Day, man. Eve,
Merry Christmas
to you too, and your family, man. We'll talk, man.
All right, man.
All right, next week.
All right.